Fifth Sunday of Lent Reflection by Father John Kudjo Dorborkoe SVD. Narrated by Brother Dan Holman SVD.
As we draw closer to the end of our Lenten journey, the Church places before us one of the most powerful and moving stories in the Gospel, the raising of Lazarus. In this story, we meet a family in deep grief. Lazarus, the brother of Martha and Mary, has died. By the time Jesus arrives, Lazarus already has been in the tomb for 4 days. The pain of the sisters is raw and honest. Martha says to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Anyone who has lost a loved one understands these words. Death brings sorrow, confusion, and many questions. Sometimes it even brings disappointment. We ask ourselves why things happened the way they did. In Ghana, when someone dies, the whole community gathers. Relatives travel from far and near. Neighbors, friends, church members, and sometimes even people who once had disagreements with the family set aside their differences for a moment. People come with food, firewood, drinks, and funeral contributions. We sit together, we cry together, we sing funeral songs, and dance together. Our funerals remind us of something beautiful about our culture. We do not allow people to grieve alone. In moments of loss, the community becomes a source of strength. During my years of parish ministry, before entering formation work in the seminary, I had many opportunities to accompany families during such painful moments. I visited homes where mothers wept for their children and where fathers struggled to accept the loss of a loved one. In those moments, one realizes that death raises questions that human explanations alone cannot answer. In our Ghanaian context, death is sometimes interpreted in many ways. When someone dies suddenly or unexpectedly, people may ask, "Why did this happen? Who caused it?" Some begin to suspect spiritual attacks, curses, or enemies working through hidden powers. Fear and suspicion can easily take over the hearts of people who are already grieving. But Sunday's Gospel invites us to look at death with the eyes of faith. When Martha meets Jesus, he says something extraordinary. "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will live." Jesus does not simply offer sympathy. He reveals the deepest truth of our faith, that death does not have the final word. Before performing the miracle, the Gospel tells us something very simple and very powerful. Jesus wept. Jesus himself stood before the tomb of his friend and cried. This reminds us that God is not distant from our suffering. He understands our pain. When families cry at funerals, Christ is present in those tears. But the story does not end in sorrow. Jesus stands before the tomb and calls out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" and the man who had been dead walks out of the tomb. And perhaps this gospel reading speaks not only about physical death, but also about the many tombs people experience in life. Fear, discouragement, broken relationships, sin, loneliness, or loss of hope. Sometimes people feel trapped, as if life has closed in around them. Yet Jesus continues to call each one of us by name, just as he called Lazarus. As we approach Easter, the Lord is calling us out of whatever tomb holds us captive. The stone may seem heavy, the darkness may seem deep, but the voice of Christ is stronger.